On this episode, it's the fourth of a series of 4 on the Carnegie Historical Museum in Fairfield, Iowa. And I'm day tripping with this guy, the day tripper himself, Bob DeWitt. Bob, tell him what we're going to see in this episode.
We're going to start with some artifacts from the War of Rebellion, which is what it was known as then, now more commonly known as the Civil War. We're going to look at some information about the Underground Railroad and quite a few other things. So stay tuned, you don't want to miss this one.
That's right, and this is all brought to you by Griner Auto Body of Washington, Iowa, using state-of-the-art techniques and decades of experience to get your car back on the road after an accident. Car Doctor of Washington, Iowa. No matter who Frankensteined it, they can fix and clean and customize it. McDonald Boneyard of Keota, Iowa, for all your farm equipment and auto recycling needs. Hinshaw Trailer Sales of Richland, Iowa. You need a trailer, they've got your trailer, and they fix what they sell and don't in their full-time repair shop. Girling Repair of Winfield, Iowa. If your mower is dead, call Fred, your Husqvarna, Aaron's, and Gravely dealer. B&B Propane and the family of Jet Stops, and Blue Dog Lawn Care of Wayland, Iowa, for all your residential and commercial lawn care needs. They all present Southeast Iowa today. I'm John Bain, author of Christie's Journey, The Beat Goes On, and your host. Let's go inside and visit with Jake Schmdit.
Let's go.
Jake, we're on episode 4.
It's hard to believe 4 already.
Yeah, we're zipping right through. There is so much to see. Senator James Wilson was a friend of Andrew Carnegie.
Yep.
And when he requested that the first Carnegie Museum, Historical Museum, be built in the world and in the United States here in Fairfield, he requested a 300-seat auditorium. We're on the 3rd floor.
And this is it.
And this is it.
It's hard to believe when people come in here.
Yeah.
So actually, if you look at this picture, this was what this room looked like in 1892 when we opened. It was a 300-seat auditorium. And it's interesting because if you look at this picture, there's a chair right on the stage. It's got 2 little humps on it.
Yes.
That's still right here for you to see today in the same spot
There it
was made. What's interesting too is some people, we found documentation and photographs to prove it. So in 1905, we had Booker T. Washington in this room.
Really?
He gave a lecture. In 1906, we had Billy Sunday in this room. We have great pictures of them. So if you're familiar with Chautauqua movement, Chautauqua Park is here in Fairfield, and we had our own Chautauqua. The Chautauqua was from 1904 to 1931. It started in the 1850s in Chautauqua, New York, just south of Niagara Falls, and it was more of a Methodist-based congregational thing.
Like a movement.
And it moved across the United States to the point where they had almost 10,000 of these Chautauquas. So they had different lecturers every single year. So in 1905, they had Booker T. Washington. In 1906, they had Billy Sunday. And so they gave lectures in here. We have pictures of them on the front steps of the old museum or library here and so forth. So it's kind of interesting, some of the different. So most of this was because we had another location in Fairfield here that was almost a 300-seat auditorium, but by 1871, the Wells Hall was too heavy. If you're local, you'll know it was J.C. Penney's building, and that's what most people remember as, but by then, the building started to sway at the top, so they had to dismantle the building and lower it down from the 3rd floor. So there's only 2 levels there. So that's why they needed another auditorium. So they had lectures, they had political rallies in here and so forth. And
so this room, and I'm going to turn it around, so this is the stage.
Yes.
And the folks that would be here would be
all the
way back to the drugstore that we showed in a current episode, or a previous episode. And it's just incredible. I mean, the history that's in this building, the building itself, not to mention the contents.
And it's interesting because so we decided to dissect out most of the manufacturers, some of the larger ones, because there's so many of them. So one of them was Louden Corporation. If you're into barn history and so forth, we have Louden Corporation. They had over 200 patents. We actually own those patents today. They're no longer good, but we have them downstairs in our vault, and we keep them all organized. So in case somebody needs to see a certain one, we can pull it out for them. But this represents all the different things for Louden. And then in 1904, the Louden Corporation brought in Iowa Malleable. And Iowa Malleable, all their history is back there in that display case and their history.
Let's walk back there a little bit. we just keep peeling back layers of the onion and uncovering more things.
It is. So they allowed us to go in recently, and we took out all the extra stuff that we could find in the old Malleable building, and now it's empty. But this is some of their major contracts, companies they've had with different ones. This here was actually the mold pattern book. Every single company from Iowa manufacturers to Caterpillar Corporation and so forth, they're all in there. It's just so many. Massey Ferguson, John Deere, they made molds for them too.
All in that book.
Yes, and that would tell them exactly what mold, like these up here on the wall, are, and where they were located in the building, so they can go and make them. Sometimes there were small runs, like 24 to 50. Other times there were massive runs, and sometimes if they did that, they would go to a larger company that's like Falco that's in here, and Fairfield that was, or Dexter Corporation and things like that.
So Iowa Malleable
Was more of a smaller run. But
and
more
Iron Company.
Iron Company.
And then Louden's got jointed door hangers.
Yep.
And we've got examples of those right here.
So most of this metal work was done at Malleable.
Okay.
Because the Louden brothers were very smart, very thrifty people. They began to realize just around 1900, why are we paying another company? We're making all these rollers and so forth, and anything, and then we're having an outside company make the metal. Well, now, why don't we make our own company and keep the money for ourselves? So they actually went to Canada, and this Malleable company was in Canada, and they paid them off and bought them and brought them to Fairfield.
Wow.
That's how we ended up sticking with
Now, we were talking off camera earlier this afternoon, and Louden has a connection to Ford.
Yes, it sure does. So, John, it's kind of awkward if you look straight up there. The track system. That track system that goes right through. The Louden family has such a tight rein on their patents. They were so well done that almost all meat packing plants across America and so forth needed a track system to slide meat through, and they could cut it quicker and so forth. And so when my wife and I were invited last year to Ford to visit them and to see, they knew about the track system. And even when you go to Ford and take a full tour.
You're up in Michigan somewhere.
Up in Michigan, Detroit.
Detroit.
Right there, and they tell you in a video, they say, Henry Ford was in a meat packing plant and saw meat being slid through. He said, this is something I need to use to help build my Model T. And where do you get that? You come to Fairfield, Iowa. This is the headquarters for Louden, and that's where you had to come.
Well, I'll tell you, people that think that Iowa is just flyover country need to park the airplane and get out and look around.
That's right. So, but yeah, that was one of the things. And then also, there's another whole storyline. We won't get too much. You need to come and see it. But it's of a company we had from 1919 to 1958, the only company in the United States that had legal rights to reproduce any windshield on a car. Here, it's called the Toma Glass Company.
Right here.
Right here. So,
Bob, Toma Glass Company, you got anything for me?
Nothing.
Okay.
That would be a pain.
This has just been wonderful. We got 4 episodes out of this museum, and we could do 400 more.
oh, let's do it.
Easy. But Jake, I want to thank you for your time today and for the opportunity to do these 4 episodes here. I want to thank Bob DeWitt for day tripping. He always gives me great ideas right here in Southeast Iowa.
That's right.
In Fairfield. One more thing. Give them one more reason why they need to come here.
They will find a lot of interesting things they never knew about. Even myself, I have to admit, I was born and raised here, and a lot of the information I found out in my life already, just recently, has been stuff that I found here because I never knew before. So you'll always find something new here at the Carnegie.
Can't say anything more than that. We're going to wrap this episode up. Thanks, Jake. Bob,
Yes.
what a place.
Unbelievable.
There's no way we can show you everything, but that's not our intent. Our intent is to show you enough to make you want to come here to the Carnegie Historical Museum in Fairfield, Iowa. Would you say that's a fair
It's
assessment?
just, it's so nice to see somebody so knowledgeable and enthusiastic as Jake, as a curator of a museum, because we don't get that all the time.
No, and Jake was wonderful, and I know he'll be glad and thankful to give you a personal tour. So make sure you reach out to him. We've had the information on the screens for you. Very easy to find here in Fairfield, Iowa. So thanks to Jake Schmdit for all of his tours. And thank you for watching. And Bob, I got to thank our sponsors.
Do it.
All right. Griner Auto Body, Car Doctor, McDonald Boneyard, Hinshaw Trailer Cells, Girling Repair, B&B Propane and the family of Jet Stops, and Blue Dog Lawn Care. That's Day Tripper Bob DeWitt. I'm your host, John Bain. Stay friendly, Southeast Iowa.